I got this mighty fine blaster. What do you think, sir? Why hello to all my fellow nerds. This is Archer coming at you from somewhere that is not quite New Jersey anymore. This is Roxton College, a home away from home, a very special place in my heart here in Roxton, Oxfordshire, England. This is a place I studied at years ago, and I was fortunate enough in getting to revisit once again. I wanted to do a quick review while I was here in this beautiful, glorious countryside. This is the Photon Blaster. A few of you may have heard of this little guy at local battles and Nerf wars within your area, but this is a custom design by Cobalt and Gyroscope, specifically for my tiny itty bitty little hands. It is the smallest blaster in Cobalt's line of sci-fi awesomeness. It is a flywheel 135 FPS little powerhouse. What's really neat about it is that when you first rev it, it has, as I said, a bit of that sci-fi feel. It's probably the least realistic looking blaster I have in my collection, which is never at all a bad thing, especially here in the UK. The thing that I like most probably of this blaster is the fact that if you want to do a mag release, it's as simple as clutching my wrist into this little bracket here. There are obviously some very specific designs with this blaster, like, I don't know, certain person's logo over here. You should check her out. She's pretty great. This was a big problem that I had with the regular Photon Blaster. It was really hard for me to pull this spring back to toggle the switch. Fortunately, they were able to design this blaster so that it was easier for me to pull the trigger back and not have to use two fingers to do the same job. So, very fortunate about that. When I went to the Caves War, a lot of people thought that the back here, because it's a bit loose, they thought that this pulled back every time that I pulled the trigger back. It does not, which is a bit of an interesting feature. It helps as far as keeping things smooth, which is funny because you would think that it would be smooth if this was pulled all the way back, but it is not. Anything further than that, I am hardly a modder, if I'm being perfectly honest. It did take some hits along the side here. You could tell it's seen some battle, but aside from some chipping and bits of rock that did get into the blaster on the exterior, it holds up pretty nicely. If you wanted to get inside the blaster, like say to charge your LiPo, which this takes a 3S LiPo, all I gotta do is pull out this little pin here. That's the takedown feature. You can see the hole right there where it comes apart. And then watch this little magic. You ready? You ready? I am a genius. Blaster does come in two parts. This is the inside. You can see the gear mechanisms like that. The way that it feeds from the mag going up. It's pretty neat. So this is the top half of my Photon. As you can see, there are metal flywheels going on here. Metal flywheel, not the cage, but the flywheels themselves, which is really neat the way that it holds within the cage itself. You got your toggle switches here, 135 FPS. The design just makes sense. The way that you get into the LiPo. Now this design is a bit interesting because you can't access the LiPo through the handle as I've had to do with pretty much all of my blasters. No, this one, what you want to do is you want to take the top, kind of twist it a little bit. The top comes out, the barrel, and as you can see, you have a little LiPo jammed on the inside. What you would do from this point is take your XT30 connection, because that's the only way you're charging this thing. You'll take your XT30 connection, I would take this end, and then I would take the other end here. I would slap it in. It's a little bit tight, and then I would be ready to go. The way you put it back, as you can see, it's a little tight. Just shove the wires in there. Shove that in. I'm gonna take my top muzzle here, barrel, etc. You fit it into the indents on the top here. You have indentation that should be able to glide that in. Again, there is a little bit of jamming involved. You have to kind of shove the wires in without, reaching the power that's running through them. And then what you do is, as I continue to finesse, whatever you want to call it, you just keep shoving them in. You want to do a little happy dance, slice and dice that through. And then the key is taking this top part, that little line that's there, and you want to line it up with a little bit of space between the flywheel cage here and the barrel itself. When I take this guy, what I do is I like to slip it in here. Slip that puppy right in. And I'm ready to go. So now that we've gone through a few of the pluses of my wonderful, amazing Photon Blaster, we're gonna go through some of the minuses. Probably the first and most important one being that the lipo is locked in the top half of this little bad boy. I did have to fly my Photon in two halves. This back half being with my checked baggage and this one being with my carry-on because, well, there is a lipo inside and I can't exactly take that out. It is a little bit of a hassle when it comes to packing and planning and basically keeping track of the lipo inside because it's not so easily available to get into. The next thing is the grip here. The grip works very well for my hands, but say I wanted to have a friend utilize this blaster. The scales here are very nice. The grip itself, Cobalt did a fabulous job. But if, say, there was an older dude or dudette that wanted to use this little guy, the grip is small. It might work for their hands, it may not, but it is something to keep in mind in case any nerfers while I'm here wanted to utilize the blaster. I guess the last thing being that I don't have as many negative notes about this blaster as I do of positive, like that's a bad thing. I just haven't had as much experience with my Photon. By the end of my trip here, I plan to have this fixed and there will be plenty of gameplay footage about that, so stay tuned on my channel. Having a great time, really enjoying my blaster. Plenty of folks here have been asking me about how our little hobby works, and the answers are quite entertaining. They will be coming out for lunch soon and they'll be seeing this little blaster and continue to stare at it and wonder what the hell I'm actually doing. Because, that's typically how this works. Hope you've enjoyed this small, tiny, itty-bitty piece of my itty-bitty little heart. One more shot over here. Oh my God, legs, pain, joy. Here, just. Hope you guys are enjoying my travels. I'm sure you've been seeing bits and pieces of my posts on Road to Foam Fest. Be on the lookout for a supercut of my 2 weeks here. And I'm just having a great time. This is the Photon Blaster. Be sure to check out Cobalt Designs. This is their make. They did a really fabulous job with it. Check out their whole line in general. Check out their book. Check out their competitive team that they're a part of. And yeah, they're good people. They're good stuff. But until next time, oh my God, pain. I'm gonna sign off, gonna grab some lunch and get my day going. This is Archer, reminding you to stay classy, stay awesome, stay fancy, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy, everybody.